Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal, the new normal, the show where we try to make this life seem a little more normal. I think we basically determined by now that's not going to happen, so I don't know why I say it even at this point, but it's the catchphrase, you got to go with it. Anyway, welcome back. Second episode this weekend. It's been a busy weekend for these. I am being joined today, though, by Justin L. Shaw, a author, a sorcerer, and not in the way you think, and a mystical comedian, which I'm dying to know what that is, but we'll get into that in a minute. What's going on, Justin? How's it going today?
Good. How are you? Good to be here and there and everywhere. It's the magic of the internet.
Exactly. We are in Malaysia right now, for God's sake. So, yeah.
Wow, that is far.
I actually do have listeners there, but so yeah, it's going today. So let me start off by asking the same question I asked everybody. What brought you down the road to the spiritual side of life?
Oh yeah, so it's been quite a journey. So I've always gravitated towards the paranormal and the spiritual, and what got me into the spiritual was the paranormal. Interestingly enough, because I had always been interested in kind of the ghost cryptids and aliens when I was kind of a child, and always fascinated by that, and always had a belief because I had my own kind of fun experiences growing up. Traveled a lot, and it just makes you think. There's something else to this world. It is not what the classical science says it is, and so that is what really got me into kind of thinking of the more spiritual side. And it's, I kind of grew up in kind of a suppressive emotionally household. It was, just my mom did the best she could, but it was just her and I, and it just was kind of, it was kind of an emotional vacuum is the best way I could put it. Just love is not a word that was mentioned around my household. She wasn't good at hugging and things like that. And that, that has an effect on humans. Humans need love. It's an absolute necessity. Back in the 1920s, when they had these adopted children in orphanages and stuff, they had babies that were dying, and they couldn't understand why, because they were feeding them and giving them water and changing their diapers and doing everything that you're supposed to do to make a biological entity keep living and working. So they were wondering why, and it was because they were not picking up and holding the children. So that is what actually had the babies stop dying at that point. Once they started picking up and nurturing the kids and giving that that energy bond, they lived. So it is something we absolutely need. So it was not something it was something I got. So in my 20s, that kind of turned into some rebelliousness and, a lot of drugs, alcohol, I've tried every drug you can imagine. I've been to jails, rehabs, institutions. Just park benches. I've been through the whole gambit of what addiction can bring. And so at that point, it's just, late 20s, it was like, it's time for something different. And I went to rehab the first time, and the spiritual side of it, I didn't get it. Didn't understand it. I felt that if I go to rehab and you clean these drugs out of my body, and I will feel better and I will be just fine. So I am suffering and I'm struggling because I am physically addicted to opiates, benzodiazepines, alcohol, all these things. All this, it's just a garbage can. My body was, and so you just get me through it. So, obviously that was a whole thing, and getting through that was ridiculously difficult, but I got through on the other side. And then, so I didn't do the whole AA thing, and it's a spiritual problem. It needs a spiritual solution, all this stuff. And I just didn't believe that. So, I was clean it lasted 3 months, which is surprising. And it lasted even that long, honestly. And, that's when I kind of went back and everything started over again. And I was right back to where I was, because I didn't understand the spiritual side of things. And so I went back a second time and was like, okay, all right, I'm open to this whole thing. Like, tell me what the deal is with all this. So I started doing, the AA side of it and the Christian side of it, which they go together like kind of peanut butter and jelly. And because AA is essentially just kind of disguised Christianity, So I started doing that whole route, and, that was fine. But what I found was with AA and Christianity in particular, is is that, it's this beautiful, it was this beautiful house for me. It was this beautiful mansion. It was like there's 17 bathrooms and 14 bedrooms, and there's a pool, and there's a game room, and there's a theater, but you're not allowed to leave the mansion, metaphorically speaking. Or you don't go out and investigate these other things that are taboo, like the spiritual, the new age side of it, and this paranormal stuff, and that you don't go there. Even meditation and yoga is kind of stepping too far out of the mansion. You stay in the mansion because they tell you that it's the outside world is full of death and destruction. It's a nuclear holocaust, and there's zombies out there, and you don't want to leave. And so, I didn't leave the mansion, out of complete fear. But, I realized that this mansion is built, and, you're in a mansion, you don't understand what, what it's built on. And what this mansion is built on is a cracked foundation of control, fear, and judgment. And so as I started realizing that, and the mansion started crumbling around me when my mother started passing, and that's when because I was programmed to believe she was going to hell. Like this was a programming. This was horrible concern for me. And so, as her body started dying and her mind started dying over this year period of the cancer eating away and her body and mind, it was 10 times more traumatizing because I thought she was going to hell and she was, this damnation for the rest of eternity. And so, after she died, the whole experience was just horrible and just awful, I started questioning beliefs that I had. I started questioning some things that I had been told that maybe weren't so true. That, she had her issues, my mother, but she was a kind person, and there's just absolutely no way she's been, sent off to this place for eternity. And so I started questioning these things, and I started doing things like meditating and yoga, and started looking to the kind of the new age side of things and getting more into the paranormal side and, the simulation theory, and started really trying to branch out and understand these things. And that is when I had my first paranormal experience outside of, fun little ghost encounters and everything, which was my bliss attack. And that was what I can only describe as, a 3-hour panic attack if you replace panic with love. And during this 3-hour, and there's no drugs involved in this, I was sober for a month at this point. I was kind of yo-yoing a little bit. I'd kind of binge and purge, but I had not had drugs in my body for a solid month when this happened at all. I might have had coffee that morning. That was it. So, I and it kind of came on, and I was just doing a post-workout stretch, and this is when it just, all these kind of downloads. I realized as humans, we are in airplane mode. 90% of society, I would say, is in airplane mode. So a phone perpetually in airplane mode is not living up to its potential, right? Like it's functional, you can play your music and whatever you've already downloaded and, stuff like that, but you're not going to get any messages. You're not going to get any emails or, text messages or phone calls or anything. So you're not going to get any messages. So I just realized that we're all kind of in this airplane mode, and I had been turned off airplane mode. And in this experience, I felt like there was something I needed to do to help people get off airplane mode. And we could have a much better society if everyone was off airplane mode, receiving these amazing messages of hope and love and peace and all the hippie shit I love so much now, like it's in that moment. And that's when the sorcery idea came to me. So sorcery, you talked about, sorcerer and, the mystical comedian. I call myself all kinds of things: mystical comedian, hope dealer, spiritual Sherpa. It's I don't really have titles because, this is something
Hope
new.
dealer. I freaking love that hope dealer.
Oh yeah, hope dealer. Yeah, I went from dope dealer to that was the world's worst dope dealer. Okay, like I'm probably the only person in the history of the game that lost money dealing drugs. Okay, like I was not a good dope dealer. I did all my drugs. So
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, like, there's only one way that happens.
yeah, there's only one way, and yeah, you do them all. Yeah, I was breaking even was a huge win for me. So so this whole sorcery thing kind of came because I really source energy is this field that surrounds us, and it's the unified field, it's the quantum field, the Akashic field. It's many names, and it's your chi, it's your prana, and it's this field that I connected to, like almost like a Wi-Fi signal. And that's what kind of downloaded this book. But sorcery, it's spelled with a U. So source energy. So it's, like I'm a big fan of source, the wizards and Gandalf and Lord of the Rings. It's not that kind of sorcery. So you can, keep your hooded robes and your cauldrons in the closet for the next Harry Potter convention. This is about like source energy. So it's real magic. It's creating kind of this new transformation. And so I created this system, a map essentially for people to get off airplane mode and have their own bliss attack. And it's 13 rungs. So, and being in AA for a long time, they had a very interesting thing that helped a lot of people. And two things can be true at once. I think AA can be very, very helpful, but it can also be kind of disempowering and keep people kind of at the level that religion wants you to keep, which is religion wants people control. They want to control people. They want you down. They don't want you exploring other religions. They want you to keep, they want, and that's kind of, and AA is based off of that. So, I just realized that, I could make a system similar to the 12 steps, but not be so rigid. First of all, A is, 1 step, 2 step, you don't jump around to steps. I could create something that's more fluid and you can kind of jump around and things. And, instead of steps, why don't we do, rungs? Because moving forward is good, but moving up is better because a bird has a better perspective on things than a worm. Right. So, yeah, I did. That's where this kind of whole thing came from. And, it's helped me immensely. I don't believe there's any healed. I think there's only healing, but I have healed a whole lot since, and I've had anxiety and depression and all these labels and things, that they throw out there for, mental illness, and I've had the whole gambit. And so, but there is healing out there for all of them, and it can be natural, if you're tired of the medical community approach of just treating symptoms.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the world is tired of the medical society and what they're trying to do. I mean, it's been all over the news recently, the things that they're finding out now about things in the medical society that were trusted for generations are now all of a sudden not safe anymore. And it's like, gee, the truth finally works its way out a little bit. You gotta love it. And I was actually just talking about this with my guest yesterday a little bit. We're kind of going back to Eastern medicine. Like that's kind of like the way the medical world's going. The Western medicine phase is slowly dying because people are realizing it's full of horseshit. It's all chemicals they want to feed you with to control you. Same as AA in a way. I mean, AA was created as a way to control people with problems and to make them less of a problem to society. So, and it was, of course, created by religious people because why wouldn't it be? Religious people love to control other people. That's just the way religion is. That's why I don't subscribe to organized religion because of that. I don't like the power aspect of it and the money aspect of it either, but more the power. So let's get into well, literally where like source code. So basically, you're talking on a quantum field, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, it is the Akashic or quantum field, and I compare it to trying to explain water to a fish. If if you explain water to a fish, it's kind of difficult to do, and once that one fish all of a sudden starts seeing the water, like I have, there's this field that surrounds us all. This may seem like empty space, but there's not. There's actually a substance here. And so, once you're that fish that sees the water, you can never unsee the water. And getting other fish to see the water can be kind of difficult because it's, fish that, there's fish that don't want to see the water. And then there's fish that can't see the water. But then there's some fish that want to see and like are interested. And so, those are the kind of fish I'm trying to get out to is trying to explain this whole thing, because just like a fish that's living its, whole life in a pond, all of a sudden is now caught by a fisherman and pulled out of this little pond to see that there's this whole other world that they had no idea about, like if, there's like, oh my gosh, there's other ponds, there's land, there's people. What is all this? Like you never knew about. You're just a fish in a pond, and all of a sudden you've been pulled out, and then you get, and then they catch and release and throw you back in, and you're just like, what? and then you have to tell other fish about this. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like you don't understand. Like, we're in a substance. There's this whole other world out there, and it's most of the fish are going to kind of be like, okay, all right, buddy, sure, we're just going to keep on swimming around. So it can be kind of a gift and a curse sometimes, but I try to create something that really helps people to heal and understand that there's much more to this life than we really think. And so it's about kind of letting go of old ideals, and that was the first place I started. And I have 13 rungs for a very specific reason. 13 in our society is considered to be very unlucky, when that's bullshit. That's not true. It's actually considered a very divine and lucky number. And in tarot, 13 represents death, rebirth, and transformation, which is what sorcery is all about.
Yep.
So immediately I want people to start thinking about maybe some beliefs and some things that they held true that maybe aren't so true and might be holding them back, because we are programmed by the media and all these things that, the media and religion and all these things that are, they're trying to keep people down and not really know who they are. And who they are, we're all, you're God, I'm God, we're all little expressions of this grace force, this amazing force. Like it's if you think about, a slice of pizza is still pizza, isn't it? Right? Like, so that's who we are. But that's dangerous for especially the institutions and establishments out there that, they don't want you to know that you have complete control of your life, and you're all
Exactly.
powerful. You're an all powerful being, and we're all that way. They know they are, but they don't want anyone else to know that. So that's where people like me and you are trying to get out there and like wake people up, get out of the slumber.
I mean, and you mentioned earlier simulation theory, and that's basically what you're describing, is the fact that we are all stuck in a simulation. Mm-hmm. And just like in the Matrix, we gotta all take the freaking pill to get out. And hopefully it's the right pill, because the other pill just gets you high and then put you back in the simulation. But
no, that's the blue pill. No, and we've all kind of taken that blue pill, but it's your simulation. That's the beautiful thing. Is like, a lot of people don't truly understand simulation theory, and it is your simulation. You are the projector of the simulation. If you think about a projector, if you're playing a movie, it doesn't give a shit if you're going to put in, like a Razzie Worst Picture winner or an Oscar Best Picture winner. It doesn't give a fuck. It's going to play whatever movie you put in the projector, and that's what this is. You're projecting your own movie. We are all individually in our own simulation and sharing this collective individual simulation. So, a lot of people get scared of this simulation theory and just all, like we're in nothing in my life matters, and like that's not true at all. It's your simulation, and we're here to learn love. I mean, that is, if you think about a flight simulator, you go in, you go into a flight simulator, and you have a clear purpose for that simulation. You are to learn a skill that you're going to take out of the simulation and move it into the quote real world, where pilots now are in planes and they fly planes, but they all start in the simulator and they learn the skills of the cockpit before they actually get in the cockpit. Well, here, this is an inconsequential environment where, the consequences stay in the simulation. They do not carry over. We are punished by our sins, not for our sins. Big deal. So the consequences of anything stay in the simulation and do not carry over into the next life, just like in a flight simulator. Well, what we're supposed to learn is love. It is the one thing that we will both leave here and take with us. And so it transcends space and time. And that is what we're here to get better at. And so your projection needs to be, constantly be looking for love and project love. That's what we're here to learn. Because honestly, man, I don't want to come back here anymore. I'm really trying to make this life work to be like, okay, you've learned it, you've done it. And, maybe angels are just, beings that have, mastered the simulation, and now they're here, and now they're kind of looking over people. And I'd rather have that, because this life has been really rewarding but tough at the same time, and I really don't want to do it again.
Well, Oh, okay. That brings up a good question then. So you say you don't want to come back. Are, do you not believe in reincarnation or?
Yeah, I do, but
Oh,
I don't want to come back. That's
well,
I also believe you can stay on the other side. So I think we're here to learn to bring on the to the real world, which is not this world. We're here to learn skills, and I think, it is my belief that we can get to a point where we've learned what we need to, as much as we need to learn, and we can stay on the other side. And that's
I
what I
mean,
believe angels are, and they've learned everything, and now they're on the other side, and they don't need to come back because they've learned what they've come here to learn.
all right. I mean, okay. You're basically uh, prescribing there the exact. I mean, reincarnation. You are supposed to live as many lives as you need to reach whatever your
Yes,
end goal is. Which
exactly.
I didn't think you were saying that, but that's what you're saying. That works.
Mhm.
And I mean, you also can be reincarnated in other planets. I've
Yeah.
been told that. I've been told that's the proof of that. I mean, apparently I've been reincarnated on a few other planets a couple times. Who the hell knows? It's 100% possible. I believe probably better planets than this one, I imagine. But I, but yeah, that I like the idea of that's what angels are. That's kind of a new theory to me. I haven't heard anyone say that before, and it actually makes sense in a way. But I don't know. I think I don't think you want to come back once you get to that. Whatever's out there, I mean, this heaven, as the churches would describe it, it's not. I mean, it's not puffy clouds in the sky.
No,
It's just another dimension completely. And
it's here
no,
now. Actually, it's here now. You create your heaven, and that energy just kind of carries over. But it's that projection again. Like it's not someplace you go. That Jesus in the Bible said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And so that's what that is. And so it is something you create here and now. And that's what I've been working on. It's not easy by any means, especially with, the world wants to, Einstein said, the world, the world is an illusion, but it's a persistent one. So it's just constantly throwing stuff at you to make you want to fall back into that blue pill category, and you just have to keep fighting it. But eventually, your brain is rewired to the point where nothing really gets to you anymore. And that's really exciting that we can get our brains neuroplasticity. It's science. It's we're at that point, so we're just like, oh, okay, we can change and grow and learn. And so it's very exciting. Science has gotten to us, and that the quantum physics, and it's all part of it. They say there's two sciences of the very small and science of the large, and that's not true. It's just the science of the small takes longer to become large. It's not an immediate thing, like with the particles can be either wave or a particle. And it's there's the proof is there. The proof is there.
yeah. I mean, it's what it basically comes down to me, at least. I mean, I don't know. With simulation theory, to me, it's always like I always kind of imagine it either being extraterrestrial run, ultra-terrestrial run, whatever you want to call them, or being just run by something out there we don't even know exists yet. Which that's the scarier. That's almost like the religion method. That's the scarier method, is that we're in a matrix run by something we don't know exists. But I mean, I feel like we were put here, not us technically, but our ancestors were put here a long time ago, and we're just continuing the simulation. We're just continuing the TV show basically that they want out of us. We're just
Mm.
keeping it going. I mean, I think South Park nailed that on the freaking head like
Yes.
25 years ago. I think South Park nailed
Yeah.
that in the head that Earth is a reality show.
Earth. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a fantastic episode. There's a lot of pop culture in my book because I'm a pop culture nerd. So yes, I love that episode. The taco pooping ice cream. Oh man, just a great episode. If you haven't seen it, please, it's
Oh,
out there to watch. And
that
it
is
is. It
classic.
is kind of a TV. It is very similar to that. I think it's run by this source energy, which is all of us. I think we're all kind of glasses of water that have been scooped and taken out of the ocean. And then at the end of this, we all get poured back in. So, that's what I think kind of death is just, we're just glasses of water being poured back into that ocean. And so that's what I believe created this simulation, is the ocean. So it is everyone's consciousness. And someone says, like, who am I? Well, I'm you. I'm just coming from a different perspective. I'm having a different experience, but I am you. So it's understanding that, and which is, not the popular thing to understand, but it is the truth. And like, I just, after my experiences and whatnot, and, in these kind of meditative states, and, that's the truth I know is true. Because, my time in organized religion was just did more harm than good. I mean, it can be good, but it can also be extremely harmful. And it did more harm than good to me. So that's when I knew this isn't the truth. This is not the truth, because I shouldn't be filled with fear. And fear and joy are just two sides of the same coin. They are not separate coins. They are two sides of the same coin. It's all one energy that is being filtered through your belief system. So, that's fear is just being filtered through some BS, your belief system.
It's
And it's telling you that there's some stuff you need to look at that are not aligning with who you want to be. That is fear. Not the kind of fear that's like when you're walking on the edge of a cliff or something. That's not what. That's a good time to step back, listen to fear. But that fear that everyone struggles with in today's society, it's this energy being filtered through your belief system, and it's telling you there's something in your belief system that you need to let go of. There's something you don't align with, and so it's time to let go of that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, survival in this day and age is a constant fear for everybody, because we we live in scary times. Our parents did not prepare us for the times we were going to have to live in. The world they came from was a different world. There was a lot more ease in being able to control everything in your life and to get everything you need for your family. These days, it's constantly fear. And you're right, fear and joy are both, they're yin and yang. They both can be used as control mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
Religion's been doing it for years, using the fear to control you, and then they make you happy to control you. So, I mean, it's basically just toying with emotions. It's all it really is at the end of the day. And the government does it, religion does it, everybody, your boss at work fucking does it because they want to control you. So, oh, you get yelled at, there's your fear. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, and oh, here's a nice little pizza party for you, or a nice little bonus to give you some joy to make you be controlled even more, even though you don't think we're controlling you at this point, but we are. We're just using some reverse psychology here and getting into your head. But let's get into your book, because I'm these 13 rungs have me kind of curious, the names of them and whatnot. So I love that you start off with shadow work, though, because I'm guessing when you say shadow work, you mean just us living our darker part of our lives before we figure out the way to see through the source code.
Yeah, well, the shadow it's a Carl Jung term. It's an archetype. It is the side of us that maybe it is the reactionary side of us. It's the side of us that is compiled with limiting beliefs and traumas, and that is what makes up our shadow. And it makes us react instead of respond. So the shadow reacts, the sorcerer responds. And so, I like to, it's very easy to compare, because my shadow has been, there's three spots for the shadow in a car. If you think of a metaphorical car, there's three spots for the shadow. The shadow is either driving the car, in the passenger seat, or in the back seat. If the shadow is driving the car, it's going to constantly want to veer off a cliff. It's always going to want to drive off a cliff. If you drive off a cliff, maybe you get the car back on the road, it's going to want to drive off another cliff. And so my shadow has been there. I've been in the place where I am not able to function in society. I could not. I was not able to function. I couldn't hold on a job. I couldn't hold on an apartment. I've been, there's periods where I've spent, homeless. It's just like I couldn't function because my shadow was driving the car. And these are people that you see all the time that are just, they're just not able to function in society. You see the homeless and they're just not able to function. Then the shadow and once I got sober and the Christianity thing, then the shadow moves into the passenger seat, but it's still too involved in the conversation, because now it's talking to you and now it's saying things like, it's the hold down the shame, especially in religion, like that, just they hold a lot of shame against you, and that's part of how they control you. So you got that shame talking to you. You're not a good Christian. You never, you're just lousy. You probably won't get into heaven, like all this stuff. So I had struggles, like in work. I had struggles in relationships. I had an apartment and I was sober and I had a job, but I was not happy at all. I still had tons of anxieties and stress, and those things really got to me because my shadow, and this is probably the majority of society has their shadow in the passenger seat. But
Mm-hmm.
where I moved it to is the back seat, and that's where you want it because it is now not involved in your life as much. And one of the things I recommend to people is to name your shadow. So my shadow I named him Floyd because in the movie True Romance, there's a classic stoner character. Have you seen True Romance?
Oh, of course.
Okay, yeah. So Floyd is Brad Pitt's stoner character in the movie, and it is it's kind of the in the movie he's just a couch dweller. He doesn't pay rent. He doesn't do chores. He's just on the couch. The entire his several scenes are just on the couch. But the homeowner in the movie, because it's not his home, the homeowner lets him stay because he loves him like a brother. So he's not going to kick him out because he loves him. And so that is my shadow. He's kind of a couch dweller that doesn't add a lot to my life, but I love too much to kick out. So Floyd is my shadow, and so
I would have so named it Todd after BoJack Horseman, but
that's your shadow then. Yeah, everyone's got a shadow. I'm telling you, everyone's got a shadow. So, where it's placed in the car is very important because maybe it could be like, well, my life is, there's people out there that their shadows have been dormant. Maybe they had great childhoods and that's come into adulthood and they have really happy families. But a trauma can happen and all of a sudden, maybe their husband is taken away, their wife is taken away suddenly in a car crash. But that shadow is created. And so, an energy of, kind of a mood, can carry on. If you carry that on for several days and several weeks, and then that lasts into months, your mood can now become your personality and who you are. And now you've become your trauma. So, the shadow may be dormant, but it's in some people, but it's there. So yeah, that is shadow work, is getting to know the shadow.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And you're right. Everybody has a shadow. I mean, I can't say mine was ever in the driver's seat. I don't think in my life. Thank God, I don't think I've ever gotten that far down. I've gotten close, but never wasn't. It was maybe the most annoying passenger ever, but it was never in the driver's seat, at least for me. I mean, it was the most annoying passenger in the world, but the one that freaking is like turning off your GPS, like, oh, I know the directions. We don't need GPS, but
yeah. Or like in Dumb and Dumber. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from there, we have to go into a call for an action, you say, which that basically, I don't know what that would be. I can't. I'm trying to picture like what that would be in my head. I'm like, what the hell is a call to an action?
I named them all very cryptically so that people would be interested in like what they're about. So a call for inaction, as opposed to a call for action, is about meditation. So it is a call for people to calm themselves and to sit and to become kind of one with themselves and with the universe. And it is a critical part of my everyday routine. I do it every single day and I love it. And, there's no good or bad at meditation. People are like, I'm bad at meditation. That's an excuse. There's no good or bad. There's only practice and unpractice. And if you feel like a meditation is bad, that's actually a good thing because you are mining the subconscious. Things are coming up that need to come up. If you don't feel it, you have to feel it to heal it because what you resist will persist. So it is about, sitting down and taking time. And that source energy I'm talking about, it cannot speak to you if you're constantly in convergent focus, which is what we're in a day-to-day. We're in it right now. And most people go for convergent focus everything of all day. They pick up their kids from school or we're on right now at work, conversing with people on the phone. Oh, the phone's the biggest one. It's the biggest addiction everyone has these days. But that's all convergent focus. So a divergent focus is broadening of the focus, and it's expanding your focus and focusing on just energy and surrounding this. And that is when source can speak to you. So it is meditation is a critical part of kind of waking up and having your own bliss attack, because it's taking the convergent focus. You're telling source energy that you're busy. You don't have time for it. Not now. And if you want to get in touch with it, You need to make time for it. So that's what that's about.
Okay, I mean that does make sense, and yeah, I'm always one of those people who says bad meditation. So
Yep.
when you said that out, when you said that, I started dying laughing. I was like, yeah,
Yep.
I've said that in the show more times than I can count, but I just, and it really is just not. It's basically not trying to meditate, and that's what you're right. That's what it is. It's not having the time to even, or thinking you have the time to even try to do it, and you could think you're doing it. I'm like, I always tell people on the show, like, oh, I do. I guess I'm kind of doing it when I'm driving. Obviously, I'm not. I'm focusing on the freaking road and trying not to crash into other cars. Like, it's not. And where I live is horrible, so for traffic. So yeah, no.
Yeah.
It, meditation just is. I have my problems with meditation. I really do. But
It's not easy,
it's
but it's doable. I used to be
still.
just like you, but it is doable.
So your next rung, though, it kind of has me. It kind of almost seems like it's going against what you were saying a few minutes ago, because surrender to serenity. I mean, in my eyes, isn't serenity just another word for religion?
No, it is a blissful state of peace. Serenity is a blissful. It's like nirvana. It is a blissful state of peace, and surrender to serenity is about understanding human behavior better, so that you don't let other people steal your joy. It's your joy. You have to give it away, and understanding how people are and what they are. I mean, we're all programs, and most people have been programmed with a virus. And so these are people that, kind of get to us, that, it can be the whole, I feel so sorry for the whole Karen situation, right? Like that's, and I feel so bad for anyone actually named Karen. My heart goes out to you if your name is actually Karen. But it's just those things. These people are losing their cool, and because they've been programmed, they're letting their shadows run their life, and they've been programmed improperly. They have not healed, and now the situation becomes where this person is attacking you verbally, and if you can keep your cool while someone is verbally attacking you, or cutting you off, or whatever it is in society, that people, they're trying to take your joy, because they have none, so they're trying to steal your joy. And so understanding what is going on in that situation is extremely helpful to, not take the bait. So that's the whole thing, is, this idea of the joy thief. And there's a lot of joy thieves out there. And if you understand the mind of the joy thief, it really, it helps you keep your serenity and your peace and your bliss. And so it's very important to know in these reactionary moments where you see someone on that gets caught on a phone yelling and berating someone, Target cashier. It's not about the whatever situation is going on in Target. Their anger at their father for leaving them when they were 5 has now been focused on the Target cashier. And because that wound is not healed, it comes out. It's just like a wound on your body. Like when you touch it and it's not healed, it hurts. You don't want people to touch it. So, it's that same thing. If you haven't healed that wound, someone touches it, now it comes out and there's a reaction. So it's understanding so that you don't too feed into that garbage in the moment. And that's kind of surrendering to serenity.
I mean, okay, I actually like that step, because I already subscribed to that step.
Yeah.
I haven't let people's bullshit bother me for the last 25 years. I think I'm gonna start now.
Yeah.
And it's true. There are a lot of energy vampires out there that like to steal your thunder. They like to steal your joy, and they get a high off it almost. They get a high off of taking it away from you, because
They're taking your energy. Yeah. Yeah.
they walk away.
And make them feel better.
It does.
Don't let them feel better.
and you're right. We all are born with a virus. I mean, look, some of them are worse than others. I mean, there's plenty of narcissists out there, sociopaths, who don't give a fuck for other people's feelings, or they're just going to do what they want to do. And if they can take away your power, they're going to be even happier, because then they win in their mind. They won the game of life because they got to be a narcissist, and they get to make you feel like you're nothing. Which, I mean, trust me, I know some people who are, and it's literally soul sucking. It's literally like being in the room with them. It just brings you down 20 levels on the rungs. Like, it just brings you down 20 rungs on the ladder, and you're just at the bottom. So like, God, I need to get out of here. Go do something fun. Like, do something to take my mind off this horribleness. But actually, the next two rungs I'm going to kind of tie together because I think they do relate a lot. I mean, because they're all about health and emotional alchemy, as you put it. And I mean, that's just getting you back to your best being, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, health is wealth is the fourth one, and that's just about focusing on the body. It is our vessel. It is our, you're gonna put. Hopefully, you put oil in your car. You need to take care of your car, and it'll last long. And so, it is about taking care of the body. It is the mind, body, spirit. It is the triangle. All of them are equally important, and feeding one will feed the other two. So, take care of your body. It's very straightforward. Emotional alchemy, on the other hand, is about your emotions, and that is about creating, like, turning these base emotions. Alchemy is, the old real sorcerers, back in the day, would turn, base metals into gold. Science may think that's bullshit, and I can't do it, but this is something that is for sure you can do, is emotional alchemy. It's turning base emotions into elevated emotions. And you can do that through acts of, in particular, like, forgiveness is a big one that can elevate emotions. But curiosity is another big one. Getting curious about people and about yourself, and it can really help to turn those base emotions that you feel. And just like in the kind of the situation with someone verbally berating you, is getting curious about that person. What is going on in that person's life that they're feeling this? Like, what happened in your life that you're reacting to this, silly situation with such rage and anger? Because it has nothing to do with the situation that you're in. So, being on that side of it and getting curious about yourself, and other people, is transformational. Kids are curious about the world, and, the world they live in, and constantly asking questions. Ask questions and get curious, and you can turn those base emotions of jealousy, fear, anger. You can alchemize them into joy and love, through certain acts of curiosity and forgiveness and things like that. So that's what emotional alchemy is.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically emotional health. It's basically getting your emotional health back to where it should be, because
Mhm.
we shouldn't be letting other people be able to control us in any way emotionally. And you're right, like, in this day and age, we all get curious about the people that we see belittle other people, and that's in this day and age. You just go to Facebook and be like, okay, let's look at their Facebook and see who hurt you, child. Oh, you have daddy issues. There we go. That's the
Mhm.
base cause of it all. That's usually it's usually parental. It's usually a parental thing dating back to childhood trauma. Which, if anybody suffering with any of that, I know some people can help you. I've talked to a lot of them. So there's a lot of hypnosis work that can be done in that and work wonders. So
Mhm.
you got to go back and confront those demons. But if you dare. But and well, actually, I mean, the next one kind of ties into the last one, into the emotional health as well. I mean, comfort and discomfort is what you're just talking about. Being able to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
A little bit. Yeah, it's that. So that's, you're thinking more of the verbal berating, but uncomfortable situations are run a gambit of things, and going out and doing things that make you uncomfortable purposely. If someone has asked you to give a commencement speech at a wedding, or like a graduation, that's very uncomfortable, but do it. Pushing yourself. No growth happens within the comfort zone. That's just the way it is. If you're constantly comfortable, you're not growing. So it is about pushing and getting out there and doing at least one uncomfortable thing a week. If you're not doing something once a week where you're just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like getting into social situations that just like, I don't like that, I don't want to do. No, go get uncomfortable, because you grow. So it's very different than just being comfortable in an awkward situation of being. That's very different. It's getting out there and getting uncomfortable, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and growing.
Yep, it's like being on that cruise ship and you want to get in the pool and do the Macarena with everybody else, but you're just like,
Yeah,
I don't like
do
this.
it. Yeah,
Do it.
do it. Yep, do it. Yeah, yeah. If you're questioning, like, I don't want to do that, do it. Yep.
Drink a couple
Be, become be
margaritas or daiquiris. Get in
Yeah,
there. Like,
become Jim Carrey in Yes Man. Remember that movie, Yes Man? Yeah, where he just has to say yes to everything. Like, there's we'll to put limits on it. You don't have to say yes to everything, but say yes to a lot. Just the normal stuff that I would say no to, I try to say yes to now. Like, okay, that sounds like something I don't want to do, so I should probably do it.
oh, always say yes to that Red Bull, folks. Always say yes to that Red
Yeah.
Bull. But Yeah, I mean it is what it is. And I mean, and you're right. I mean, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. I mean, oh, you don't think you could be a manager at your company? Guess what? You're comfortable with the idea of it? Go apply for it next time there's one open. Apply for it. You never freaking know. You could get it and you could change your life by getting it. I mean, how many people don't go anywhere in life, don't go anywhere in work, don't go anywhere in their social life if they don't push for it? I mean, basically, you just got to do shit and not worry about what's going to happen. I mean, fear. It goes back to fear. It goes back to fear controlling your life. And that's not a way to live. You can't let fear control you. That's a
Yeah.
path to the dark. That's a path to the dark side. So
That is the path to the dark side. Yes, yes, yeah. Source energy is. I always tell people that to like watch Star Wars. Source energy is the Force. It is explained exactly in how life works. Is very similar to Star Wars.
I tell people all the freaking time. George Lucas knew things. He
Yeah,
knew things.
he did.
When he,
No, it
he
is. He took all the ancient religions and and that's what being spiritual is all about, right? It's taking all the best of all the religions, taking all the good things that they talk about, and connecting to source and spirit, all the good things that bring people in, and leaving all the dogs or the dogma and the laws and all the bullshit that tries to then keep people. So they bring you in with all this lovey-dovey stuff and all the that's all good stuff. That's all truth. But then they tell you the lies, and the lies are what's trying to keep you, control you, and make sure you don't stray. They need you to be sheep. And one of my rungs is goats
oh
over sheep.
I can't. I was honestly waiting to get to that one because I freaking love that one. But we'll get to
Yeah.
that. Well, it's coming up soon. But I mean, first you gotta have attention and inattention, which I I mean that can go in a lot of different ways. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. So I'm gonna let you explain that one without me trying to butcher it.
Yeah, attention to intention. So keeping your attention on an intention. We are creating our lives whether we know it or not. You're either creating it subconsciously or you're going to create it consciously. So if your thoughts are always on an intention, you're gonna create the life that you want. And so it is critical to have goals and be intentional about everything we do. I go to the good examples. I might go to the gym and I'll jump up on the pull-up bar and just start doing pull-ups, and maybe I get 10. But then there'll be times when I'm like, okay, I'm doing 15, and I'll get 15. So like being intentional and setting those goals, and otherwise your subconscious, your past is just going to continue to regurgitate itself. And that's how people, some people live 90 years, other people live the same year 90 times. And so that's the subconscious. It's reproducing itself. You're creating, it's very well disguised, but your past just continues to repeat itself until you get conscious and focused of, okay, I'm going to be intentional. This is what I want. And this is what I'm going to draw in. And I'm going to have a map, and I'm going to create, the whole secret and the vision boards, all great stuff, and having a vision. And then you create who you want to be. And then you connect your energy to that person, which is what draws in everything that you are wanting to be. Because now you're living at that person. You don't need to act as if you feel as if, because there's no acting needed, because you've already feeling like this healed person, like this wealthy person. If you're already feeling that, the universe has to give you what you want, and your outside world and your inside world will start to match. But it's all about attention to intention.
Which you're basically describing there as manifestation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a manifestation, right? Like it's a station. You tune into it. It's like the thing. It's the old radios that back in the day that we're kind of age. We remember the old radios with the antenna and the little windy thing on top. Where we kids these days, they have no idea what that is. So at least we know what it is. But you those old radios, and you would turn the wheel and you'd find the station. So that's kind of the mind heart coherence. And so your heart and your mind, everyone's hearts and minds are scattered. When you get these two things in line, it puts a beacon out to the universe of what you want, and your beacon is sent out, and it gets answered. But you have to create mind heart coherence and get them in line. And that's just like you take the little wheel, you put it on a station, but it's like scratchy. Then you gotta adjust that silver antenna and just right. And okay, now you've got a signal. But without those two things together, you're either on a different station or it's scratchy. And so find the station you want and then fine tune it. And that's the mind heart coherence. And now you've created this beacon out to the universe.
Exactly. I mean, I tell people all the time. I've said on the show multiple times. If I am ever having a time in life where I feel like I'm financially strapped and I need money for something in a short period of time, it's gonna happen. Something's gonna fall in my lap, and I'm gonna come up with the money I need. And I just keep thinking that, and then 99% of the time, it somehow works. Somehow something falls through, and I get the money I need, and it works. Like I've seen it in real life, and people who don't believe manifestation, I'm like, you're crazy. I've seen it happen more than like, and not just with money. I've seen it happen with other things too. Like manifestation is real. I mean, there are limits to it, of course, but I mean, it's real. You can't hope someone's going to die and then hope that manifests. Like you can't have the negative manifestation because that's not going to work. The world doesn't, the fate of the world doesn't want you to have that. Like the universe doesn't want you to just have the hate and the negativity of all that. It's not
definitely not as powerful, and it's not as powerful. Well, it's extremely not as powerful when you're talking about other people wishing anything because they're in charge of their own projection and simulation. So wishing anything, wishing someone would do something, or even wishing good thing. You wish good things on people, that's fine. But it's there if they choose to not accept your energy, that your good energy, and they want to stay, then it's up to them. So doing anything, it's about you. It's about you and what you can control. And yeah, it's about creating that beacon and getting out there and manifesting health is what this book is all about. Because if you don't have health, wealth, it really, what's $1 billion to someone who has, struggles walking, or it's just is an emotional wreck. And, money doesn't have an effect in that way. If you're not healthy, it doesn't do anything. So,
exactly.
it doesn't. So the book is about manifesting health. So that's first.
Oh, obviously. Yeah. You need help. You need
emotional
help.
And physical. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Spiritual.
And now we're getting to the one that I know we're both excited to talk about, because I use this phrase all the time, but let's talk about goats over sheep. And we're talking the Tom Brady type of goats, folks, not the porn type that you like to pet.
Yeah, no, well, and it's interesting too, because the animal is similar to what I'm talking about here, even, and that's why this goes well so together. Because sheep are, they're sheeple. They're just they are constantly looking for outward guidance for where they want to go. Sheep are lost without the shepherd, and they're just constantly they want to be told what to do. They want to be told everything. They want to be fed. It's kind of the idea of the RPC, the role playing character in the video game. They're programmed to do what they want to do, and they're everywhere. And the RPCs in the world and the sheep of the world, they're put here for the people that have woken up to progress the story for the rest of us. They're here to teach lessons to us, to challenge us. They're all still they all have souls, and they're all part of that ocean, but they've kind of been placed here. This iteration of their life is kind of more to help others along than to really help themselves, because they like being sheep. They want to be sheep. They want to just be told what to do. Well, goats, and I do mean greatest of all time. That is the acronym. But however, if you think about a goat is unhurtable. It's going to do whatever it wants to do. It can't be hurted. It's going to be like, no, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do my own thing. Thank you. And so, it works so well because, and the greatest of all time, no one who's done something great, absorbs the energy vampires ever. So, it's not to say no one has anything good to add to our lives. People can have good stuff, but a sorcerer has discernment. And it's about like saying, "Ooh, I like what they have, and I'll take that." But what you're offering, no, I'm not going to listen to that. Anyone who's done something great, there's going to be people that the sheep are going to try to bring you back down to the flock. You're like, "Oh, he's flying too high. Let's bring him back down." So you're going to run into a lot of sheep that are going to want to bring you back down. But the goats of the world, the greatest, they don't listen to that. They know what they're meant to do, and they know who they are, and they know the direction they're going. And anyone who says anything otherwise is no, and that's okay. Thank you, but no thanks. So it is about being that greatest of all time, but also being kind of that unhurtable goat that's going to kind of do its own thing. So be a goat, not a sheep.
Exactly. Not to toot my own horn here, and pardon the pun, but I've always considered. I mean, I've always been a goat. No one ever could hurt me into what they wanted me to be or do. It's not. That's the way. That's the way I've been since birth. Like it's just. It was natural. Like no one's gonna tell me what to do. And you're right. The sheeple today, you see them all. Social media is a huge gathering place for sheeple because
Yep.
they're all looking for the next post to tell them what they should feel and what they should think. And it's caused a lot of issues in today's world, especially because social media was the worst thing for that. Because instead of just being a sheep to the people local to you, you're now a sheep to people worldwide. And all it takes is one person telling enough sheep to go do something, go start this riot, go protest here. Guess what? The sheep are going to gather and herd up like never before, and it could lead to bad things. It could. I mean, some of them are just passive, but it could lead to bad freaking things in this world when sheep gather. And there's not enough goats out there to make a difference and stop it. So that's the problem. There's
Yeah, they're not able to filter the information through the intuitive scent, and yeah, they just accept whatever they're told, and it's a crappy way to live. So goats over sheep.
I honestly can never imagine living as a sheep. It would. I mean, I could see why so many people don't have the emotional health because if you're a sheep, you can't. You
No,
can't.
you can't. No, they're constantly being suppressed constantly
Which it's
and allowing it, but they're allowing it too.
God, yeah, they're definitely allowing it. Maybe even not on a like a control
No, it's a
level.
subconscious. No, it's a subconscious
Yeah.
level. It's on the subconscious level. They don't realize what they're doing to themselves.
Oh, they don't. It's almost almost could be a mental health diagnosis. I think one day it will be one. But we're talking about when we're talking about goats. I mean, your next chapter kind of lines up with that because following your bliss is something only a goat does. A sheep doesn't do that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's about it's really about finding your flow and following it. Whatever puts you in the flow state, just follow it. It doesn't mean it's always going to be some great big amazing thing or lead to an incredible career where you're super famous or anything like that, but you're supposed to follow your flow. Whatever puts you in the flow state, find your bliss and follow that, and doors will open. As Campbell said, that's a Joseph Campbell thing, follow your bliss. And he said, doors will open where there were only walls when you follow your bliss. And so that's what's happening for me right now. It's, I'm certainly not, the book is very new. It's only been 6 months or so. I'm putting in some words and but it could really be something really quite unique and help a lot of people if it really gets out there. So, I'm not where I am, but the journey is the destination. So, but I am following my bliss. I am just doing I'm just taking the next right thing, whatever the next step is, where my passion is, that's what step I'm taking, and I'm seeing where it goes. It's very exciting, and I'm more alive than I have been in my entire life, and it's because I'm following my bliss and doing something that I love to do, and I'm trying to do this spiritual thing, but make it fun and funny, and take pop culture and mix it in there. And Jesus was such an amazing spiritual teacher because he took everything of the day and kind of made this source energy, and he was explaining this source energy in that time period. Well, let's update that. Let's see, pop culture is the way to do it. I can use pop culture and try to explain source energy and use that and make people laugh at the same time. So it's fun and exciting, and I'm following my bliss. So it's what people who want to wake up need to do. Follow your bliss.
Exactly. I mean, same thing I do with this podcast. It's people who know me have before I did any of my podcasts. They say like you're a different person now. I mean, they don't always say it's in a good way, but that's I think their perception. To me, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because it is my bliss.
You're doing it. Yeah.
It gave me purpose. It gave me purpose, and it gave me a voice in the world. And people I never even met know my name, know my voice. I literally met somebody in a podcaster group I meet with monthly that's local, and met him for the first time. And he said to me later, he was like, "You were on my podcast like 2 years ago." He's like, "As soon as I heard your voice and when you spoke today, I immediately recognized that voice." And I'm like, "I know him somewhere." And he's like, "Yeah, you were on my podcast 2 years ago." I totally forgot because I've been on I've guessed on so many shows that it's like never going to remember them all. But it's to be recognized outside of like the few people who know you at work and your family. Like it's kind of different. It's different. And I mean, I never let it go in my head, but it's just like I'm not no Joe Rogan, but I'm fucking known like the people in a way, and that's bliss. That to
Follow
me,
your bliss. Yep, you're doing it. You're doing
and
it.
I get to kind of preach my message. I mean, it's not as diabolical as any religion for damn sure, but it's a message of sorts.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, your next step, rose-colored contacts. I feel like I have a glimpse of what that most likely is. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a bit. I mean, it's kind of like an old saying almost in a way, but I'll let you describe what you mean by that.
Yeah, rose-colored contacts. I've decided to, rose-colored glasses is the saying. The rose-colored contacts just to, mix it up a little bit and bring it into the 21st century. So, but it's perception. It's your perception of what's going on is everything. It's the glass is half full thing. Is it half full or half empty? Your perception of what's going on is everything. And we're constantly kind of in this place where we're shifting into different dimensions. And your perception is how you're choosing to see the world, how you're choosing to experience life. It is the projection of what you're doing, and it's absorbing everything, and it's just extremely important for spiritual mental health to have those rose colored contacts in. And it's not about like toxic positivity or anything and pretending things, but it is about having a correct perception on it and having a good attitude, and perceiving things the way they are, they you want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically about just seeing the world the way it should be, and that's
Yep.
amazing. So, well, folks, actually, you know what? I feel like being a bit of a dick today for some reason. So, we kind of introduced you to his book. I think we should leave the last three rungs for people to, if they want to find out what the last three rungs are, they should do the homework. That's my opinion. Because
Yep, that's fine.
I mean, if anything, it'll entice them more to go buy the book. So there you go, folks. I'm a salesman at heart, folks. That's why I do it for a living, because I'm good at it. So let's and and I never thought I would say that working in sales would be my bliss in some way, but it kind of is. See, everything fell in full. I couldn't have worked in sales before I was a podcaster. Like the guy who hired me literally said, I mentioned to him, like, I do podcasting, and he's like, see, you're selling yourself every day of the year. He's like, why can't you sell other things too?
Yeah,
And
it's truth.
by God, he was fucking right. And I actually I end up being a natural at it, which I never saw coming. I said my whole life, I don't ever want to work in sales. I don't want to be picking up the phone dialing for sales, dialing for dollars. Like, I don't want to do that. But fuck, I'm good at it. So it works. Like, that's
Well,
why.
yeah, well,
And it goes back to what you're saying earlier about you gotta go with what you're uncomfortable with sometimes. I wasn't comfortable as fuck thinking I had to go to a job where I had to like call people on the phone and talk to them. Like, to me, that was the most uncomfortable thing, because I hate talking on the phone. I will, even with family, I will text you. I do not want to call you. Like, I will text you. I don't need to sit there on the phone and just make small talk while trying to think of something to say. Like, I hate that. But I made myself uncomfortable, and bless follow, folks. So I kind of am following these rungs to some degree, I guess. It just happened naturally. It just happened naturally, and well, naturally to the way the universe wanted it to happen, I guess. But if that's how you want to put it. But where can people find this book, and where can they find you if they want to learn more about this great method?
yeah. So the website is awakenthesorcerer.com with a U. And but the book is on Amazon, and it just came out on Audible about a week and a half ago. I think I've only a handful of people I've reached out to that have actually got it yet, but it just came out like a week ago. I haven't gotten out to tell everybody, but yeah, so it's on Audible. I get to tell my own jokes. I get to do voices. It's really funny because the book is funny. I mean, it's light. It's deep, but it's also very light. So it's also on Amazon, the book itself. So you can do the Audible on Amazon Audible or the book. And then if you can't afford it, honestly, just email me, sorcerer13@gmail, and I'll send you like a PDF or a free e-code for a free ebook. I just want to get the information out there. I don't, if you can't afford it, it's all good. Just hit me up. And I don't like social media as much. I've been off it for 4 years. It was like a horse wearing blinders. I ran a better race, but I'm back on it because I want to get out to people. So, but I'm only on Instagram because I have Facebook PTSD. So Instagram, it's true. I do. I can't stand it. And I know they're owned by the same company, but it's just, Facebook is just awful. So, Instagram is Sourcerer with a U _13. So reach out to me, hit me up. I love talking about this stuff. It's my bliss.
Well, there you go, folks. And Facebook PTSD, I fucking love it. I feel like I am so numb to Facebook that I could just like scroll through it and just laugh at most of it. Honestly, I used to laugh at most of it because I was like, "What the hell is wrong with this world?" But
Yeah, no, that's a good way.
it's you can't ever take Facebook serious because it's not. But folks, I want to thank Justin for coming on because it's been a fun show and we got to learn about a new way to heal, which this show is all about that. So, and it is a way to make the world a little more normal. So, yeah, you kind of hit the goal today slightly. We do it once in a while, but you know where to find me, folks. If you don't by now, it's been like 3.5 years. Just shame on you, shame on everything. But it's in the outro for all listeners, and it's on the bottom of the screen. But of course, you can always find me on Antisocial Network as well. A great place to check out all the podcasts on there. Come back. I will be back with another interview, I think, next weekend. So come back, folks, and check out the next one. Have a good rest of your Sunday, everybody.